Chris Mathis, right back. Chris Mathis back with you guys with Talk to Him Tuesday with Richmond Spider quarterback Joe Mancuso as he gets set for the NFL draft here in a couple of weeks. And it's been a crazy, I'm sure, couple of months for Joe Mancuso. But he's joining us here for Talk to Him Tuesday. I'm with my co-host Spencer Mathis once more. Again, an awesome guest. Spence missed out last time I spoke with Joe. He was actually our first guest back in November on the podcast, and he's back here with us again. And with that, we bring on Joe Mancuso. What's going on, Joe?
Hey, how's it going? Appreciate y'all having me. Yeah, it's the first time I've gotten to be interviewed or questioned by Spence, so it'll be cool for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, Joe. Last time we spoke was right after your football season ended. I stand corrected. It was right in December. Your season ended in November. And we talked about your college football career at Richmond, 6 years there as the Richmond Spider quarterback, 3 years of which, you saw continuous progression and more reps and more growth. But obviously it's been a crazy, 3 or 4 months for you. In a nutshell, before we dive into this stuff, how would you describe the last 3 or 4 months of your life as a football player looking forward to that next opportunity?
Yeah, one word you can just say is driven. Like everywhere we go, every place I trained, it was like all those guys have that mindset where you're driven. We're all chasing that same thing, which is to get to the NFL, get to the professional level. And so I say the mindset we have right now and what I currently have is just to stay driven, just to keep that work ethic and that drive.
Yeah, and you got to take part in 2 different pro days. Of course, the first one being at Richmond, and then you followed up at Virginia as well. Talk about your first pro day at Richmond and how things went there on a big day for you, obviously, on your home field there at the University of Richmond.
Yeah, so the Richmond pro day was after the UVA pro day. So the scouts that were there was a couple of scouts there that were also at the UVA pro day. So they got to see me 2 days in a row. And so Richmond, we were hoping it wasn't going to rain because the previous day at UVA, they have an indoor facility, super nice. At Richmond, we don't have an indoor facility, so we were kind of hoping that it wasn't going to rain. And so thankfully, the rain held off by the time we got out there to throw to the receivers and everybody out there, and everybody was able to do the field work. So it was good. It was good to get out there for sure, and I think it helped a lot of the guys from Richmond and from other local schools get out there because we had a couple of guys come in from different schools. Just if a scout wants to see them, they'll bring these guys in and then watch them run the 40, 5-10-5, throw, catch, block, do whatever their position requires. So the Richmond Pro Day was really good. The receivers I thought did really well. They ran their routes crisp. They caught everything thrown at them, and so there weren't many incompletions out of the 40 or so passes that I threw. So it was good. There was only 3 receivers, so getting 40 passes in there was definitely good. Good to get in front of scouts, a little bit of exposure.
That's crazy. Talk about your adjustment to new receivers, new targets in a moment like this, because it's not like, okay, you get a redo. It's, hey, you guys have to start clicking right away. What was that adjustment like for you as quarterback to throw to new pass catchers?
Yeah, that's always one of the harder things because everybody's speed's different. Everybody gets in and out of their cuts differently. We had a lot of time kind of coming up after the season into the pro days, so I was able to figure out who I was going to throw to a couple weeks prior to the actual pro day. So except for at UVA, I found out I was going to UVA about 2 weeks before their pro day. And so I got there the day before UVA and was able to throw with 2 or 3 of the guys out of the 4 or 5 that threw. So that next day I was a little nervous, but we ended up dotting a couple of guys. They're so athletic. All these college athletes, receivers are just so athletic. So it's easy to just kind of put it in their vicinity and they'll grab it with their – they got great hands. They got crisp routes. It's pretty nice to throw to guys like that. But it's the same thing at Richmond. We had one guy that played at UR, and then we had two local guys. But obviously their talent, the talent's great. So it's like it's not hard to adjust to those guys. And I threw with the guys at the Richmond Pro Day a couple more times than I did with the UVA guys. So it was good. It's definitely one of the harder parts to throw to receivers that you never thrown to. But we made it work and hopefully stamped my mark.
So how exactly does a pro day work? Because I know that you're trying to get teams to look at you, but is it as simple as, a scout's looking at you at the throw, during the throwing schedule there for you during pro day, or do you have a heads up of who's going to show up? How does that work?
Yeah, well, at UVA, I knew that there would be pretty much every team from the NFL and maybe some CFL scouts would be there. So every team went to the UVA pro day, and I knew that going in, and I knew that there would be about a third of the scouts at Richmond. It ended up being like like 6 or 7, maybe 5 or 6 or whatever. Ended up being like that. So having those 31 scouts watch me versus having the limited amount of scouts definitely benefited me for sure. And I did well throwing to those guys I've never thrown to before. So they knew that I had never thrown to them before. And so that made me look a little bit more appealing as well. So, I mean, what I did was I had a script written out. And if you watch the video or you watch the Pro Day at UVA, and same thing at Richmond, I had a script that me and my QB coach from when I was down in Florida, we made this script together. And it just went through all the routes, all the dropbacks that usual NFL quarterbacks will take, like whether it's play fakes or boot out, just straight back drops. So I worked those prior practicing, and then went out in the field, did the UVA Pro Day, and they would come in and get the route and then go back out. I would just tell them the route, and then they go back out. And it's easy because it's routes on air. It's not like we're throwing one-on-ones or we're doing 7-on-7. I just throw to the open guy. So it's not that difficult. I just lead them a little bit, and that's how I think it was pretty easy to throw to those guys and kind of adjust to their speed because they're just so athletic. It's easy to connect with them.
How surreal was it for you to have, 31 different NFL teams and, of course, other teams from other organizations and other football leagues watching you throw the football?
I mean, it was crazy. Once we got into the moment, it was like it kind of just flew by. It was like it kind of happened right away. Like we finished the agility drills and the bench and vertical and all that stuff, and then we hopped right into the throwing. And it was like such a quick turnaround that I didn't even have like a chance to like even be nervous for it. So first play, got it, and it's like we started out with like hitches, slants, just to kind of warm up and get used to like the timing and tempo of how these guys are running the routes. And so they weren't trying to outrun the ball either. It's like they're trying to catch everything that's thrown to them, and I'm just trying to put it in the area. That was my thing. It was like I want to go in there, and especially for UVA, I want to go in there, help these guys out because they have a really good chance of being drafted or being picked up in a free agency. So I wanted to be like a supplemental guy for them, just to show these scouts like these guys can catch and run these crisp routes, and all I have to do is put the ball in the right area. So
my first question comes from Union County High School, former offensive lineman Carson Garrett. He wants to know, how did it feel getting to throw to Virginia pass catchers at their pro day, and how do you think that helped you get your name out there?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, these guys are so athletic. Like it's a different level once you come from high school to college to the NFL. It's like these guys they're dedicated to their craft, and they work every day effortlessly to just better themselves and better every little thing that they're not good at. They try to better themselves every single day to be the best at what they can. So, I mean, throwing to those UVA guys, it was awesome. I mean, you throw to speed like that at Richmond, there's some guys that have the speed, but it's awesome when every single guy has that type of speed and has those hands. And it was nice because we had a tight end, Jelani. He's a big 6'7" target, so he's awesome to throw to too.
Yeah, he's an enticing target. I mean, I'm ready to see where he goes in the NFL because I think that's going to be a really cool tight end in the NFL that you usually don't see a guy that size. Yeah. Ran a 4.6 240 at 270 almost. Yeah, insane.
Yeah, it was wild. He's got a great work ethic too, so that's awesome. He's got one of those blocking tight ends that can use his feet and his hands. So that's what I think a lot of the NFL guys succeed is when you can block and you can catch. It's like, oh, this is a done deal. And he's 6'7", so it's gigantic.
Joe, obviously you said that you threw the first time at Virginia, and then you went in the next day to Richmond. Did that transition kind of settle you in to day number 2? Was it a different approach to day 2, your second pro day?
Yeah, absolutely. So I did everything at UVA except for benching. So we started off, we did the vertical, broad jump, 5-10-5 L drill, 40. We did all that stuff, and I didn't do the 225. Did all the testing through, and then Richmond I didn't do anything, or I did the vertical jump just to see if I could get an increase, and it stayed the same. So I just did the vertical, and then I went out and I was just preparing to throw. Like I watched the guys on the 40, 5-10-5, so I was just sitting there watching. And like I said, a lot of the scouts that were at Richmond's were also at UVA. So before I even threw, like one of the scouts come to me, is like, right now we've seen you throw a million passes. We just want to watch these guys and see how they run their routes, and let's see if you can be accurate and put on an inside outside shoulder. So that was mostly what I was doing for the Richmond Pro Day. I would drop back, he would say inside outside shoulder, and I'd put it on their shoulder. I'd stick it wherever he told me to. So that was probably appealing to him that I was sticking it exactly where he wanted to. But like I said, I was just a supplemental guy for these receivers, just to show that they have these routes and they have good hands, and just put it in the area, not trying to throw it too high, too fast, or just throw like it in the dirt. So it's just giving them a chance to make the catch. And show the scouts what they can do.
How much different is your current day-to-day life than it was over your last few springs of college football at the moment?
I mean, and right now it's much more relaxing, to be honest. I'm just working out and not just honestly just focused and just trying to get to that level. I mean, in college, you're focused and you're the week to week and kind of day to day, you're focused in the now. I'm really focused about the future and like what I'm going to be doing in a couple of weeks and like that it's coming up. So every day I'm training for that and just driven for that. But during the season, it's much different because you're focused on that week, and that week passes by, you go the next week. So it's a little bit of a stressful time during the week leading up to the game. It's because you're preparing, you're mentally preparing. And so right now it's kind of the off season. I'm working out, getting in shape, feeling good. Like I'm eating a lot. Like off season is the time. So it's just staying in shape and training right now just make it professionally.
Yeah, Joe, and you talked about what you're really focusing on right now. It's the future, what's to come here in the next couple of weeks, because April 28th, first day of the draft, the 28th through the 30th,
Right.
the 2022 NFL draft. Joe, talk about your current workout and throwing schedule, if you are still throwing at this point in time.
Yeah, right now it's just I'm trying to throw with local guys. I mean, I'm living in Richmond, so I'll throw with some of the college guys at UR, and then I'll throw with some local guys if they're around. But yeah, I'm just keeping my arm in shape, and then when I go work out, I'm doing a lot of like pliability stuff, so knees over toes training. I know a lot of athletes here about that, and just trying to get my knees right, because that's scary. Just a lot of knee injuries. It's just you want to make sure you're doing the right exercise and doing the right things for yourself. And I'm really working on my weaknesses, just trying to find that I'm not as flexible as some guys, so I'm working on my flexibility. Maybe I'm not as strong in some areas of throwing, so I'm working on that and just working on torque and all the QB type workouts. So I'm just staying like that, and then I'll do cardio. So that's probably the worst part, is the cardio, but you got to do it to stay in shape. So.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's kind of hard. I know we talked about this in December, but it's kind of hard to really have a formula for success here as you get set for the NFL draft. So in your time away from throwing the ball with guys, are you looking at playbooks? Are you looking over play calls and trying to really build up your knowledge regarding play calls?
100%. Yeah, it's like I'll watch just YouTube videos. There's a QB coach that does stuff with the guys during the draft, and you'll just watch them draw on the board, and like just watching that, you're building your knowledge by just watching somebody draw a play. And it's like I try to do that every single day. Like just get that 1% better. You hear it every day. It's 1% better, 1% better, and 1% better. So if you're not doing anything if I want to play quarterback, if I'm not doing anything to better myself as a quarterback every day, then what am I working for? So every day I try to watch film, and like I know that most NFL quarterbacks, if not all of them, can make every single throw. What's going to separate these guys in the league is how well do they understand the defense, how well do they talk through their reads, and how well do they know coverages. So that's really what I'm spending a lot of time on right now, is knowing the defense and knowing the board work portion of it. So like drawing in front of the scouts and drawing and showing that I have the knowledge of football. And so gaining the knowledge week by week, day by day, it'll be easy to go in front of these scouts in these interviews or with the teammates if I make the team, when I make the team, and show them like, this is what we got to do. And I'll be able to draw it very easily because I've done so much of it now.
Yeah, you talk about drawing up these plays that they're asking you to draw and walk you through. How does that work? Are they timing you like, hey, Joe, you've got a minute to do this, or how does it work?
No, I wouldn't say they're timing you. I've not got interviewed, but what I've heard from guys that got interviewed is they'll ask you to draw up your favorite cover 2 beater or whatever, and you'll draw it up, and you want to draw offense, defense, where your eyes are at. There's very ultra specific on what you're doing. So it's like I get in the huddle, I'm going to say the play, we're going to get here, my eyes go instantly to this. Then it's all step. It's step by step by step. And it's kind of just talking through that to the scouts. And it's just like you just have to have that assertion up there. It's like I don't want to be up there talking like I'm nervous, just up on the board. I want to have done it already. And so that's why I'm doing a lot of it now, is I want to have done it already, so that way I get in the interview, it's all right, it'll be a piece of cake. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
So whenever you're watching film, do you listen to music, or do you just sit there in silence like a 1930s black and white film?
But usually if I'm watching film, I'll bring somebody with me, so it's not just like I'm sitting in the dark by myself watching film. I'll have something going on. I'll have some food. I won't be in there just like completely locked in a death stare with this film. I try to make it like an event that I like to go to every single day, And it's not like I watch film every day. It could be something different where I'm working on like going on the board and trying to remember the plays that we had, or we'll watch the film and be like, okay, I made a mistake here. I know now not to, that I shouldn't make that mistake next level, or I can talk through why I made that mistake. So.
I'm going to put you on the spot with this one, Joe. You know yourself better than anybody. What facet of your game are you trying to improve on here early on in this NFL draft process, and of course early on in whatever's next for you?
Yeah, I mean, a big part of my game when I was playing in the season this past season was I usually would miss it. I'd have my balls would sail a little bit over the middle and sail just where I'd miss a little bit high, and then over the middle and on the side. It didn't matter where on the field, but that would be because I had a tendency to get my shoulders off tilt. So usually when you're playing, you want to have your shoulders and you want to drive level plane. That way the ball's not getting up and out of whack. So I've really been working this offseason on working on mechanics, just trying to keep a level plane on my shoulders and kind of drive through each pass, so it's more accurate and it's more on the money than if I were to be off tilt and kind of air the ball out. So that's really what I've been working on. And that's probably my biggest weakness that I've noticed is just doing that. And so I've just been grinding those, just repetition. And it takes a lot to break a habit. So you just got to do it every single day. And so I've definitely found a difference in the velocity of the ball, the accuracy. And so I feel really good about where my mechanics are at. And it's going to just keep building.
Again, a crazy time here for Joseph Mancuso as he joins us for Talk to Him Tuesday. NFL Draft, April 28th through the 30th. And, Joe, talk about what this whole process has taught you about yourself over the last, I would say, month and a half, 2 months.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's taught me a lot about my mental side of the game. Like, you're sitting here, it's like no one's saying anything every day. So it's like I'll get feedback here and there, but, like, it's hard to every single day have that driven mindset. And I'll write stuff down and I'll get up and do everything I need to in the morning, but you have to have that mindset. And if you're going to get up and you're going to lollygag around, it's like I'm not waking up with that good mindset, like I want to get better today. And so that's been the hardest part for me, is just working through that mental battle, mental adversity of just not getting any feedback. Am I good enough? Am I doing enough? Like and that's just I have to write notes to myself, or I'll have to be like motivational quotes, and it's just like just keep reasserting, because when you think about it, it'll happen. It's like I talk a lot about with you, Chris, is like you manifest a lot. So when you talk about it, you got to be about it. So that's what I'm just trying to stay every single day, just progress and get 1% better every single day.
Yeah, for those of you that have no idea, Joe and I graduated from high school together, and since I would say 9th grade, we always had big aspirations, and it wasn't I want to do this.
You, me, and me, you. For each other, we have big aspirations, and now
Spence. Yeah, for sure. And again, it was one of those situations where it wasn't, I want to do this. It was I'm going to do this, and we always told each other that in a non-arrogant way, just confidence in ourselves. And here you are trying to make this dream a reality. Pretty insane stuff there, Joe.
We are, dude. You're freaking on this huge platform. That's awesome. I'm super pumped for you for your future too. So I just want to put that out there.
I appreciate it, man. Well, no doubt we'll be definitely continuing with our friendship and pulling strings here and there to make us make this work as often as possible. But Joe, you talk about trying to figure out things about yourself, learn about yourself here during this time in which you're, as you said, really having to dial into your mental and see how strong you are mentally. But you've seen yourself go up against other quarterbacks as well, not necessarily in a competition, way, but in terms of you were able to see these other guys that are getting ready for the draft. Yes. How would you say that you stack up with these other quarterbacks in the 2022 NFL draft?
I mean, and not to say this cocky, like I'm cocky, but I think I'm the best quarterback in the draft. Like, and even if I don't get picked up, I still have that mindset. And I think that to have that, you have to have that mindset. Or it's like, I can't be like, oh, Tom Brady's better than me. Oh, Aaron Rodgers, I'm better than all of them. Like, I have to have that mindset that I'm better than these guys. And if I have a bad throw, I have a bad throw. But like getting over that and kind of having that short-term memory that everybody talks about it's crucial, because you start comparing yourself to these guys. That's when you start going downhill. I got to worry about me. I know what I'm good at. I can't compare myself to these guys. So that was the thing when we went to Atlanta. It's like we had another quarterback. I'm trying to juice him up. He's trying to juice me up. It's like we're both trying to get to that level together. So.
Yeah, you talked about Atlanta right there. What are you talking about with Atlanta and being able to have an opportunity out there?
Yeah, so I was able to get a local workout. So since we talk about it in Blairsville, Georgia, it's like in a certain radius, and they do local workouts with different teams. So if scouts see you during the year or they talk to you, they'll invite you to a local workout, or they'll invite you to a private workout just to see you, kind of talk to you. So I was able to do that with the Falcons, get in there and just and really just show that I can throw. And like that was the biggest thing. I just want to see like, okay, this guy can do that. We'll pick him up free agency, maybe give him a free agency deal, maybe pick him up in the draft. And it was kind of like I just wanted to get more exposure when I go out there. So that's the reason I did that and went down to Atlanta.
If you were asked to give one game for an NFL coach to go back and watch before he picked you, what game would it be and why?
Yeah, I've had that question asked before. And I mean, last season we played Delaware. And I feel like every time we played Delaware, it was against Coach Rocco, and he was my old coach my freshman year. He ended up leaving and going to Delaware when I was a sophomore. So every time we played Delaware, I was like, I gotta go crazy. Like I gotta go hard. I gotta put up some numbers. And so we played Delaware this past season, and I put up some pretty good numbers. So I told the coaches, I was like, if you want to watch any game, you can go watch, but the Delaware is probably the best one that I performed in. So,
Joe, what's the toughest part of reading a defense?
Reading a defense. Yeah, I mean, they do a lot of the time you go into the game with the game plan. You know what the defense is going to run. NFL, it's a lot different because they're moving around. So many pieces are moving, and it'll tell you what this coverage is based off this guy. And it's a lot. It's just seeing rotation. I'll say that is when you're back there, they'll be moving around and everything pre-snap. But once this ball snap, you got to be able to read the rotation. And if you see the safeties, and the safeties will tell you everything. And if you read the rotation of the safeties, it'll tell you the coverage, obviously. And so just understanding where to go based off of the rotation, based off the holes in the coverage. You see on Madden when they have those little highlighted pockets where the guys will be, there's holes in the defense on that. So it's finding out where the weakest point of those defenses are and making sure that you have a guy that's going to be crossing that hole and hitting him right in that space where there's an area where you can hit him.
All right, I have an either-or type of question for you here. What's worse, protection completely breaking down or a wide receiver running the wrong route?
What's worse?
So
when a protection breaks down, I was about to cuss. That it hurts. It doesn't feel good when protection breaks down. That didn't happen a lot. Shout out my offensive line, but it definitely doesn't feel good when a protection breaks down or something. But when a receiver runs the wrong route, you can kind of tell before if I know he's going to run a 10 out and he's just full on sprinting, like I know he's not about to break down, like go out, I know he's like, oh crap, he ran the wrong route. And if I'm looking at him, I know it's like a progression. So you have your read right here. If this guy doesn't do his job or he's part of the progression. So I have one, if the two didn't run the right route, then I go to three. It's like I'll kind of read it through that. But if we have that dude and he runs the wrong route, he's the only receiver, then I kind of I'll make something happen with my feet or I'll go backside, so it's just, and that shouldn't happen a lot. I mean, you should communicate with the receivers and it should vaguely happen during the game if it does at all.
So in baseball, there's a thing called the yips, which happens often to defenders, of course, in baseball, like a shortstop just not being able to make the easy throw to first. Does that happen in football as a quarterback? I'm sure it does, but have you experienced
I got to knock on some wood, but no, I don't feel like I have that, and I think that comes with that's a lot of your mental side. And I've seen people have the yips. I've seen them completely just crap the bed and just, especially at quarterback. It's such a mental game that you can be in your head so much that you can just throw it right in the dirt. And it's like, what happened? And so I think a lot of it is your mental side and just working those releases and just having confidence in your ability. Like I've done this for so long. It's like, I don't have to worry about if I'm going to miss this guy. It's all instinctual. Like in the game, everything's instinctual. I'm not thinking about my mechanics or anything in the game. Everything's just happening. It's like I've worked on it every day. It's a habit. It's all instinct. So it's like I don't really think about the yips or anything like that before the game. So knock on wood that doesn't happen. But
Joe, one thing that I've always talked about since your high school football days, high school baseball days, is your composure. Even when stuff hit the fan, it rarely did when you were on the mound. I think your ERA was just above a 1. It rarely happened on Friday nights underneath the lights. And, of course, even at the collegiate level as well at the University of Richmond, it rarely happened. So I want to talk about pressure. And if you feel pressure in a big game, how do you try to handle that? Because from the outside looking in, I've never seen you just look flustered out there on the field.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, another mental thing that you have to push through in the game is like I'm nervous as crap when I get out there. The first play of the game, it's like, I'm shaking. Like I just want to get started. And it's like when we would walk out for captains, it'd be the same thing. Like we're about to get rolling. And once you get rolling, you kind of get at ease. And it's like, okay, let me just not mess up the first play. And then after the first play, I'm good. But when stuff goes bad, I think that's more the mental thing that I had a problem with. When stuff would go bad, you have to remind yourself, put it behind you. But it's hard when you throw a pick or something like that. It's hard. Like, obviously you don't want to. So you go to the sideline, you're mad, and you're talking to yourself. And I think a big thing is just to go back and like just breathe. Honestly, like that's what I would tell myself. It's like just breathe. Whenever I get mad, it's like, let me just calm down for a second. Like, it's just a game. Like it's literally just a game. Like, why am I mad at this? Like, I made a mistake. Let me just go out there and not make that mistake again. So I just try to breathe, calm myself down, and that's it. And it's not like I don't have to do anything extra. I'll just take a second for myself, and that's it. It's like, Joe, you good? Like, yeah, I'm good now. Like, it's over. It's in the past. Like, it's all good. So
this is a real personal question in terms of who's been that rock for you during this whole entire process. And there could be multiple rocks, if you will, but who's been that one person that you can rely on, or those people that you can rely on and say, hey, you know what, I had a tough day today, or hey, this is a lot, I'm getting through it. Who's someone that you go to, and why?
I mean, my girlfriend, we've been dating for about a little over a year and a half, and like I've been living with her this past year, and like through this whole process, she's helped me out, like mentally, physically, just giving me that motivation. Whether like it's little thing, like little notes here and there, it's like she's been my rock, and it's good to have somebody in your corner always, whether you win or lose. You have a bad day, good day. It's like she's always there, and she's always there to help me and have my back, and so it's definitely good and kind of a pressure release, honestly. It's like I don't have to go back to the house and worry about this. I have a dog too. It's like my dog doesn't worry about a football game, so I'm gonna come back to the house. It's gonna approach me like any dog would. It's like that feels good, and it's the same. It's really the same with me and her. It's like she approaches me, and it makes me feel good when I know she's not gonna bring up anything that like is went bad in the game or anything like that. But she's definitely been my rock these past couple seasons. So.
What is the most motivating reward for you playing football?
Watching my guys score and win. That's the most rewarding thing. Like, it feels good to throw a touchdown, but it feels better to win the game and watch these guys celebrate. Like, after every win we had, it was just unreal in the locker room. It's amazing. After every single win, it's like you prepare so hard every week, and to go out there and actually do it and accomplish your goal every single week it's really rewarding, especially when you're the winning team and you're in the locker room and you're celebrating. It feels really good, and I love watching my teammates just be happy and knowing that I had a part to play in that. It feels good, for sure.
So there's been a lot of discussion recently about how much halftime adjustments really matter, and it's come down to the fact that it's not as important as fans think. What do you say about that?
No, I think it's super important. I mean, if nothing's working, you got to figure something out. Like, if something is working, the other team's got to figure something out. So, I mean, halftime adjustments are huge, and it's end-game adjustments. So if you're in the game, like, if the great coaches will make that adjustment in-game. And then if some people will have the coaches up in the box, and they have to wait till they get down to the sideline to actually say, like, what they're seeing up there. And so it's just, I mean, I think it's very important in game adjustments, especially if one side's doing a lot better than the other. If it's a pretty even keel game, it's like not much is going to change. Like, you're going to try to find different ways to beat them, but especially in the NFL, it's like there's so many good athletes that they're not going to make too many mistakes, too many mental mistakes.
Joe, we talked about the NFL draft coming up in less than 2 weeks. Surreal moment here for you, and of course every other quarterback or player that's getting ready for the NFL draft hopefuls as they try to continue on with their dream. Talk about a couple of the teams that have communicated with you, if any. I know that obviously you went to Atlanta and competed in a tryout type deal. Talk about a couple of the teams that have shown some interest.
Yeah, a lot of the pre-draft experiences, you just talking with the scouts and your agent talking with the scouts and trying to put in a good word for you, and having these pro days and getting in front of those 31 scouts, and then my pro day getting in front of 5 same scouts. It definitely helps because they go and talk to the GM, and then the GM will say, we want to put this guy on the team. And so it's good to get that exposure from every scout and pretty much every scout in the league, and to go up to every one of them, introduce myself, say my name, just so they've heard the name before. And so when it happens, they'd be like, okay, I should have taken my chance here. It's I say that as something for me. It's like something in my head. Like it's a motivational thing for me. You know, like if they don't do anything with me and I make this, like I'm trying to make it and be like, oh, I remember that guy from Pro Day. You know, that's where I'm at right now. So, but it was super helpful to get in front of the scouts, and that's just the biggest thing. Is I went to Atlanta, I threw in front of the coaches, but it's the scouts make a lot of the decisions, and I like I said, all the quarterbacks make the throws. It's how can I talk to the coaches, talk to the scouts? How can I show them that I know football? You know, so that's been the biggest thing for me, is getting to that exposure to be able to show them that I know.
Yeah, and again, Joe, you talked about the scouts being able to see you at these throwing situations like you're talking about with the Atlanta Falcons, or in Atlanta at least. Do you get any feedback, and do they kind of give you a report on what they think about you? Is this kind of like a, oh, cool, or is this a, hey, Joe, I really like that ball. Hey, this is something I want to see you improve on, or what's the conversation like?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, when I was at the Falcons, I was throwing in front of the QB coach, I was throwing in front of the OC, and so they would give me feedback every play. And so it was good to definitely get in front of them. And then after I went up to the scout, I said, thank you for giving me the opportunity, you know, just like anybody else would. And he's like, you just give me the feedback that you look good and that you play good. And then hopefully that'll push you whenever they're talking about you in a meeting, you know. Okay, let me go back. This guy did really good. And so every time I make a good throw, it'd be like, good throw, or like they would say something to maybe correct it. And hopefully that didn't happen. It didn't happen a lot, thankfully. But if they do, kind of talking about it and making sure that it won't happen again. And we talked about strengths and weaknesses throughout like the process being at the Falcons. And like I said, with the shoulder tilt, it's like, that's probably my biggest weakness. And that's what I would be honest and say that. And like, I think that's the big thing, is self-evaluating yourself and being self-aware in the areas that you need to work on. So that's one of the areas I needed to work on. I said that, and that's just the truth. So
less than 10 days away from the NFL draft, Joe. Talk about what your game plan is over the next 8 days that you have left until April 28th hits. And even if you're not taking the first day, the second day, or even the third day, what's kind of your game plan for these 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, just keep working. Don't get complacent. Like, I still got a job to do. Well, I'm not getting paid, but I want to get to that level where I'm making money, loving what I'm doing, and obviously football is what I love to do. So I want to get to that level, and I can't be complacent during these 2 weeks. And I got to make sure I'm working as hard as I ever have. So just staying in shape, keep my mental game strong, and just pushing every day.
Yeah, Joe, again, we talked about the 3 different draft days that'll be coming up here for the NFL Draft 2022. What's kind of your mindset two-part question. What's your mindset in terms of when you do get drafted, or what are you thinking of whenever, if a day does pass, day 3 passes and you're not taken in the draft, what's your approach to that?
Yeah, I mean, whether I get picked up or not, like, I didn't have the greatest stats in college, so I don't have a lot of that, the exposure from that, like some other guys. So I don't expect myself to get drafted. If I do, then let's go. But if I don't, then I'll have a list of teams, and I just got to go prove myself when I get that chance. And I know that I've done enough right now to get that chance, and I just got to perform when I get that opportunity. So,
have you been asked any weird questions by these scouts or anyone involved with the NFL?
No, there was like a lot of it you've seen on Twitter about like the hand size with some guys. Like some guys will ask about the hand size. I have like normal hands, so it's not like a weird question, but I find it weird when they do ask about that. Like, I don't know. It's just something weird about that, but nothing like crazy out of the ordinary. I think they do that in the interviews. They'll just ask some like weird questions to see how you react or whatever, but I haven't gotten to that point yet, so we'll see.
Joe, you talk about, comparing yourself to other quarterbacks. You say that you're the best quarterback in this upcoming draft. What separates your game from the other quarterbacks in this draft?
Like I said, all these guys make the throws. It's like, how do you prepare for the game? Like, how hard do you work during the weekend with your teammates and the leadership you have with them? How much do you put the team before yourself and focus on what you have to do on a day-to-day basis, hour to hour, minute to minute? How much are you doing during the day to better the team? And so I think that separates a lot of the guys. It's like, they'll take a day off here. It's like, I may not work out and do a lot of stretching and recovery, but I'll work out the mental side of the game. It's like, if I'm not doing something here, I'll put it to this. If I'm not doing this, I'll put it to this. It's like, I don't want to take a day where I'm not doing anything.
When you think of a great quarterback, and this could be characteristic, this could be physical traits, what makes up a great quarterback in your mind?
bringing the team along with you. I mean, if you're a winner and you're the quarterback, like, you're going to have people that follow you. And so it's just making sure that you have that attitude every single day that you go into the office or going to the game. It's just having that winning attitude and portraying that to your teammates. It's like, if I have the confidence and I have the will to go out and win, like, I'll show that and give that to my teammates so they have the strength and the will to go out there and perform as well as I want them to and want to. I mean, we all want to win. So it's like, why not bring everybody, you know? So I think that's a huge part of the – obviously throwing, footwork, all that stuff, and just the preparation part of the game is super important for quarterbacks. But I think bringing the whole team with you, because some games you might not be on the top of your game. So you may need this guy to pick up your slack, you know? So it's just bringing everybody with you even when you're not doing your best.
Yeah, going back to the hand size thing, a lot of NFL Twitter GMs really do believe that smaller hands will fumble the ball a lot more, but a lot of NFL quarterbacks have disproven that over time. I mean, Jameis Winston had some of the smallest hands coming into an NFL draft that has been recorded for a first rounder. So do you think that hand size does matter for NFL quarterbacks in protecting the ball?
No, I mean, maybe like protecting the ball if you were like hold it right here and someone were to hit it, but like that's pretty hard to hold anyway. But like for throwing, from a throwing sense, it probably has nothing to do with it. Like these guys have been throwing all their lives. Like their hand size hasn't been a problem up to this point. So why would it be a problem? You know, now, you know, it's just they're trying to get in the heads of the guys with small hands. Just maybe give them the yips or something. So.
Joe, throw out your height and weight right now. You said you've been eating a lot as of late, and of course you've been working out. And
I'm not getting fat out here, but no, I think I measured in at 6'2" 3/4", and then I weigh 223. Probably
awesome,
ranging from like 225 to 220. Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously that's freakish considering you're so quick. And obviously, if they pull up the tape at University of Richmond, they'd see that you're also a very mobile quarterback. How beneficial is that for you to kind of separate yourself from the rest of the pack here in this draft? Because I'm not going to say that there's a lot of other 6'2" and 3/4 quarterbacks at your height and weight that can run quite like you do, and of course also have a cannon too.
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys in the draft that are good, and I like to watch them play. And it's like I don't have any beef with anybody in the draft or any other quarterback. It's like I want everybody to succeed and everybody to reach to the top. And obviously you can't, but I want to be at that point and be that type of guy, that type of leader in the locker room. I want to bring everybody with me. So, I mean, looking at like I can make plays with my feet, and like that was what I said as my strength. It's like I can make something happen, whether it's in the pocket, I'll just make a little move, or make something happen outside of the pocket. It's like I can do that and be athletic in certain instances, and also just put it right on the money. It's like I feel like that's a good strength that I have, is like under pressure that I can put it on the money and kind of deal it and take the blow, because you take some blows. So it's making sure that you're durable and you can be pliable enough to get up and be like, all right, that was nothing. But
I've got one final question. What's your 40 time looking like right now?
So I ran a 4.7. It might have been like a mid 4.6, but I think they take the slowest time in your 40 at the pro day. So they got a 4.75. So one of the guys got a 4.75, one got like a 4.69 or whatever. So they took the 4.75, and I'm good with the 4.7. That's good with me. So.
Oh, no doubt. Again, Joseph Mancuso talking with us here for Talk to Him Tuesday as we wrap up this amazing podcast with a guy that we hope to see get taken on the 28th, the 29th, or the 30th. And if not, I know that if a team takes a shot on Joseph Mancuso, they will not regret it. I think he's going to be one of those guys that surprises you, and he's going to be one of those guys that you look back on. Like Joe said a few moments ago, he said that they're going to remember the name one day, and that's his game plan, is for them to do so. Joe, for those that are watching this right now, say a scout or a GM or a coach that's watching this right now, sell them to take you in this upcoming NFL draft.
Yeah, man. I mean, I'm as driven as anybody. Like I have that drive every single day. I'm self-aware. I'm self-aware where I am and in my athletic ability, and I'm self-aware to know that I can be at this top position and know that I can make a mark in the league, whether any professional team, any team that I'm on, I know I can make that mark. And so being self-aware, having that leadership aspect, and just being able to make those throws. I mean, I can do everything any quarterback can do. So it's just gaining that knowledge every single day, learning defenses, and just improving every single day. And that's what I think will separate me when I do make the league, and when these coaches actually get to see what I can do.
Again, that's Joseph Mancuso. Check him out on Twitter at JoJoCuso1218, scrolling at the ticker on the bottom of the screen For Spencer Mathis, for myself, Chris Mathis, thanks for tuning in to talk to him Tuesday. And be on the lookout for Joseph Mancuso.
My guys, appreciate y'all having me, boys.
Yes, sir.